Well, good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to American Reversion, where we talk about getting this country back the way it's supposed to be, right? Hey, so have you heard about the feds wanting your bank to track all of your purchases, or to look for those buzzwords in your purchases, like Trump and freedom and everything you buy at Bass Pro and Cabela's and Dick's Sporting Goods, all that stuff? You heard about that? God, it never ends, doesn't it? Does it? We'll get to that later. We have some things to hop on here first. Just a few things. A lot of interesting things coming out now that we're in the season. By the way, could I ask you, give this a thumbs up, leave a comment. It helps. Make sure you're subscribed and share this with people. That's so important. Share this with people, because we are in a fight for the hearts and minds of people if we are going to have any hope of turning this country back around the way it's supposed to be. And we need more people on board. And if you share it with people, not only will they learn, but we will get larger, and that'll help spread it, and you can do your part, and I appreciate it. So we have a lot of stuff going on. A couple of surprising things here. Jamie Dimon, CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase. You all know who he is, right? Well, he came out, and boy, he has ruffled some feathers amongst the libs, amongst the depth. Dimon's not really a conservative. I mean, he's a banker, right? He's a big bank guy. He's a big money guy. He travels in the circles of those people. And he was on an interview, and I forget who it was. I'm not sure if it was on CNN or I don't remember. I saw it, but I don't recall. And he said essentially that pretty much everything that Trump has done is right. And man, that floored them. He also said that a big crash is coming. So, keep that in mind too. Now, whether, and I just saw something from Alex Jones that I put over on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon page. By the way, while I'm thinking about that, remember that we have a Patreon page associated with this channel, and it's over there. And thank you all for joining. We've had a lot of people join just recently to support the channel, and I put a lot of other stuff over there that just to bring it to your attention. You'll enjoy it. If you want to join us over there, the link is down below. But it was Alex Jones had something up about Bill Maher, saying that he's hoping for a crash. Now he said something so that Trump won't win. I'm not sure how that works out, but Maher, as smart as he is, and he is a smart guy, he's a lib. So who knows what his reasoning is? Who knows what that is? But Dimon says, yeah, there's a big crash coming, so you all might want to keep that in mind. But the important thing was that he said that he thought Trump was right on pretty much everything. He says, he may be abrasive, and he is, but he's not wrong. Okay, and boy, that just threw them into a tizzy. Something that Obama and David Axelrod have both said is that Biden could lose. And of course that has upset Biden, as you can imagine. His former boss, his hero, his puppet master, saying that he could lose. And they're right. Now, before I go on with that, let me say and caution you, he could also win. And we know there are a number of ways that he could win, but I'll tell you what, one of the ways he could win would be if not enough people on our side get out there and do everything they can. And that only starts with voting. Voting is the baseline. It's not the extra. That's not, I voted, therefore I did my civic duty. Well, maybe your duty, but is it really what you were called to do, to support, the American ideal, to help our country Voting is the least you can do, certainly not the most. And one of the ways that he could win, and I've said this in the past, I said, don't be surprised. I said this with Obama. Don't be surprised if he wins. And don't be surprised. And when he was such a dismal failure during his first term, I cautioned. I said, he could be reelected. Everybody said, oh, no, there's no way in the world he can be reelected after this 4 years. People have seen the truth, seen him, seen all this. No way he can get reelected. Yeah, he did. You know why I knew that? Because I remembered Clinton. Clinton had such a horrible first 4 years, turned himself around, reinvented himself, and of course the media helped that. Pardon me. And he got reelected. So did Obama. These people, especially on the left, can be reelected because their voter base doesn't have principles they stand on. At least not principles the way that we understand principles. While we're over here eating each other and taking bites out of each other for the slightest little difference, they're over there unified, and they're going to win. And he could win. And whether or not everything is above board, here again, I understand. I understand completely. But it's up to us to beat them, okay? It's up to us to beat them. And we do that by getting involved. Again, back to, if you will share this with as many people as you can think of and ask them, please subscribe. Help this channel get a broader reach, because we're going to be talking about a lot of important things over the next 10 months. So both Obama and Axelrod have said, yeah, Biden could lose. Now, why are they saying that? Well, they're saying that to set something up that I've said for a long time. And that is, I'm not going to project that Biden won't be the candidate. I just watched something from somebody's, not even going to say who it was, because it's really kind of out there on the edge. I'm not going to promote it. One of these guys is supposedly an insider, and he says he fully expects something to happen by August 19th that will ensure that Biden it change everything, and that a shadow candidate is coming in that will change everything, replacing Biden, and they will bring with them policies that will change things towards a completely socialist situation, more than anything since FDR. Okay, I just throw that out there for your consideration. But this fits in with what I have said, and I've said this for a long time. Everybody talking about, oh man, Biden can't win, Biden can't win, Biden can't win. Well, number one, he could, and unless we do our part. But if they see that they believe he's not going to be able to do the job, get ready for Big Mike. Get ready for Big Mike to step on in with his broad shoulders and carry the party across the finish line. And you think that won't happen? That could. That very possibly could. And if you think Big Mike, and because there's two ways. There's two ways this could go. Kelly and I were watching some of the news last night, and we're seeing how they're putting Harris up as the face of the campaign now, because they can't put Joe up, They're putting her forward. And I said, what they could do, and I've said they're going to run Mike. But what they also could do is have Joe say, you know what, I think it's time for, he's not going to say he can't do it. He's going to say, we've accomplished so much. I'm proud of what we've accomplished. And my vice president, the one that I've so often referred to as President Harris, it's time to turn over the reins. I'm proud she has helped me in this. She has been just the engine of so many of our successful policies. Yeah, don't ask me what they were. It's going to appeal to his side and people who don't pay attention, okay? And it's time, I feel, to pass the torch to the next generations, and I want to give my full support to the next president of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. And all of the 13 people in the room will go, yay! And And they will, and then Kamala Harris will announce that her running mate, she has selected, carefully selected, the most brilliant, the most gracious, the smartest woman in the world. No, not Hillary, Michelle Obama. And so now we've got a ticket of two black women. How can that possibly fail? Now in our world, yeah, that doesn't mean anything because we don't look at sex and race. But to most of the people, not just to the Democrats, but to that great unwashed middle of uninformed voters, that's going to mean something. You know that Obama got in because he was black, because all of the little guilty liberal whites says, oh, I'm going to vote for him to show that I'm not racist, that I look at people for the content of their character. Well, they didn't look very deeply, did they, at the content of that joker's character? But he got in because so many people, and they said it. This will show the world that America is not racist. Okay, hey, this country is run on victimhood and guilt. Simple as that. Too bad. We have to take that back. We have to stop that and change it so that it's run on merit and hope. So yeah, there you have it. Two black women. Oh, I don't think they could lose. So that's one possible scenario. Another is simply that they're going to bring Big Mike in as the front runner, and say, it's time. Vice President's time was going to be next, but we just can't afford her to leave her very important duties right now, and so it's going to be an Obama-Harris ticket, and there will be 8 years of Obama. There will be, if this happens, there will be 8 years of Obama, and then at least 4 years of Harris. By that time, by the 8 years of Obama, by the first 4 years of Obama, this country will be beyond reclamation. There will be no hope after that. This is the one, guys. This is the election that determines the entire future of our country. Don't be mistaken about that. Now, in keeping with the female on the ticket, we've talked about who is Trump gonna select, and there's I hope nobody seriously consider. I hope he doesn't seriously consider Nikki Haley. I mean, he's talked so badly about her, you wouldn't think that he does, but we've heard him talk horribly about people in the past, and then when he selects them, all of a sudden they're the best thing in the world. And that can get, as much of I'm a supporter. Let me put it this way: supporter of Trump, yes, because I think he's the only fighter we have. He's the only one who has a chance of doing something to start turning this ship around. He is the biggest fighter since Reagan, and a better fighter since Reagan, because he brings it out to the people. That's my opinion, and I love Reagan. So anyway, I hope not Haley. Kristi Noem has some problems. And here we're going on to the assumption, and it's too bad, that there has to be a woman on the ticket in order for it to have a chance of winning. That's too bad too, because again, here we're not, we're going with a diversity choice, and we're not going for merit. Well, anyway, they have floated the idea of this Congresswoman, Elise Stefanik, and she's the chair of the House Republican Conference, has been since 2021, the fourth-ranking House Republican. Her district is up in New York. She elected first, I'm reading this off of Wiki, you can find it, look her up yourself, as a moderate conservative, and then moved towards the right, they say, as she aligned herself with Trump. If you read her entire bio, which I skimmed it, she doesn't instill a lot of confidence. I mean, it's down here. She is the chair of something or other. I shouldn't have scrolled past there. Well, anyway, she's involved in some Second Amendment group, But I mean, just because of that, uh, I wouldn't. Wayne LaPierre shouldn't have been on the ticket either. Anyway, she is. She doesn't. She makes noises like a conservative. I'm not sure that she is. I mean, to the extent that I would want her to be. And she's a nice looking young lady. She's very pleasant looking. She's the kind you would want your brother or your son to marry. Okay, but she's not dynamic. And I'll tell you what, I think we need somebody dynamic to go out and take. You can say what you want to about Sarah Palin, but she took it out there. And if she hadn't been reined back by McCain, the moron, she might have carried that ticket across the finish line. So, because that's what people want. We want and we need fighters. So that's what we have there. Before we get to this, I want to say something here. No, I'm going to save that to the end. Let's get to the feds wanting your bank to spy on you just a little bit more, shall we? Let's see here. And this just came out yesterday sometime, or the day before, I forget where. Where are we here? Hang on a minute. There we go. I forgot to bring back good memories. I know, me too. Okay, this is Daily Wire, and you've probably heard a little bit of this before, but it stands repeating, a little bit of discussion on it. Feds flagged terms like Trump and MAGA for banks to comb through their customer data, Jim Jordan says. Federal, I'm going to read this for just a little bit, and we'll get down, and then we'll talk. Federal officials instructed banks to comb through customer data if terms like Trump or MAGA were used in transactions, according to documents obtained by the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. The revelations were made as House Judiciary Committee Jim Jordan announced he had requested an interview with Noah Bischoff, the former director of the Office of Stakeholder Integration and Engagement in the Strategic Operations Division of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Good Lord. Oh my Lord, where do they come up with it? Would you like me to repeat that? No, probably not, but I will. He is the director of let me take a deep breath, the Office of Stakeholder Integration and Engagement in the Strategic Operations Division of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. I tell you, no wonder they feel that they're so important with titles like that. We now know the federal government flagged terms like MAGA and Trump to financial institutions if Americans completed transactions using those terms, Jordan said. What was also flagged? If you bought a religious text like a Bible or shopped at Bass Pro Shop. How about that? Well, I didn't need any more flags. My brother used to tell me, he says, you have so many flags on you that when you walk through an airport, it looks like the United Nations. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, since the 90s. So I'm not worried about, but anyway, your flag. You went to Bass Pro, and I buy all of my flannel shirts at Bass Pro. I love Bass Pro. I love everything about Bass Pro and everything. But anyway, let's go on. FinCEN reportedly asked banks to help federal law enforcement identify transactions of person of interest using specific typologies and merchant category codes after January 6, 2021. FinCEN provided the banks with documentation on various typologies and suggested search terms according to Jordan. These materials included a document recommending the use of generic terms like Trump and MAGA to search Zelle payment messages, as well as prior FinCEN analysis of lone actor homegrown violent extremism indicators, Jordan wrote. I tell you, man. Let's go. I'm going to read one more thing here. According to this analysis, FinCEN warned financial institutions of extremism indicators that included transportation charges such as bus tickets, rental cars, or plane tickets for travel to areas with no apparent purpose. No apparent purpose. The purpose is travel. This is America. We are Americans. We can travel any damn where we want to for any reason or no reason. Okay? And if we want to drive in a big ass circle for the rest of our lives, we can do it until they pass the little needs for visas going from one until they build walls around each state, and we have to have our internal passports to go, and they have to, well, what is your purpose for crossing the state line? Well, I wanted to go to that restaurant across the street. Well, I don't know, don't you have restaurants in your state? I mean, do you have a note from your mother? Okay, so travel to areas with no apparent purpose. They actually said that. You have to sit down and realize this was made up either by one moron in a little cubicle and then, or by a committee, or either the one moron took it to a committee and they all sat down and discussed it and said, yep, that sounds good to me. Okay. Or the purchase of books, including religious texts, and subscriptions to other media containing extremist views. And then, of course, you have to ask yourself, what is an extremist view? A belief in the Constitution, a belief in the Bible, a belief in God. A belief that there's only one way to get to heaven. In other words, FinCEN urged large financial institutions to comb through the private transactions of their customers for suspicious charges on the basis of protected political and religious expression, Jordan. Exactly right. Exactly right. The letter also said that other transaction keywords identified by the feds included Cabela's and Dick's Sporting Goods. Well, all you people out there who've been buying soccer shorts and the Stanley drink things for their kids, I know that because I have been. We've been buying that, and apparently Dick's Sporting Goods has the best color selection of those. They want your bank to flag you and send it to them who you are and what you've been doing and what you bought. And did you buy some soccer shorts? And did you travel someplace with those soccer shorts for no apparent reason? Okay, well, is this a surprise? No, it's not a surprise. Well, then why do we talk about it? Because we have to keep talking about it to remind ourselves how corrupt and how evil this government is. Simple as that. And to give you all something to share with the people that you need to share this with. Remember, we need to build our base. We need to do it. And we do that by informing the uninformed. Okay? Informing the uninformed. I'll post that one over on the Patreon channel. Again, if you are with us on there, thank you so much. Thank you for coming over. And it really helps. And I know you get a lot more over there. And if you're not, I hope you will. I hope you will, because when you get over there, you'll say, wow, there's a lot of stuff over here that I wouldn't, So I hope you do. It made me wonder as I was thinking about these things. And I think it was, might have been a question. Well, I think it was. It was a comment by one of our patrons over on the Integrated Preparedness Patreon page. They were talking about, and my question over there is America over? Now, over there we talk about preparing for, bad things that can happen. Here on this channel, we talk about trying to change things back. We don't want them to collapse, but that takes our involvement and our energy and our efforts, right? So, but over there, my question was, is America over? Because I really was interested in everybody's opinion on it. And when I'm talking about, well, it's not the country it was when I grew up. And that's true, and that got me to thinking, when did this big change in America start? When did it start? And different people can have different answers, and it doesn't mean that anybody's wrong, because there have been changes. I mean, you go back since the founding, there have been changes. But I would say that what really changed America, the most drastic thing in my memory, that changed the entire feel and understanding of the United States of America was the 60s. And it started with the Great Society, LBJ's Great Society, when we started rewarding aberrant behavior and started rewarding non-production with the money taken from producers. And that was the real, and you can take this back to the to FDR. I understand that, and the things that were really started the socialist slide, so many of his programs. But in the 60s, when Johnson passed the Great Society programs of welfare and food stamps and all of this, and started punishing production and rewarding non-production, taking from the makers, giving to the takers. And if you remember, those of you who remember will, and those of you maybe too young, you won't remember, that our TV shows were like Andy Griffith and Leave It to Beaver and the Dick Van Dyke Show, and such traditional American subjects. And in each one of our, and the, the Lone Ranger and all of these things, and in each one was a moral lesson. Every half hour of television contained within it a moral lesson. Nowadays, you could just sit your kids down in front. You sure don't want to sit them down in front of TV now, but you could sit your kids. You could have your kids raised by TV because the lessons were so good. Okay, the songs. I put up one on, I forget one of them, Popsicles, Icicles by the Mermaids. I think I might have put it up on the Patreon channel of this channel, either this one or Integrative Preparedness, I forget. If you go back to the 60s, the songs were about love. They weren't about somebody growling and calling women bitches and hoes, and they sure didn't have women singing about, WAP. I mean, what's happened to our country has been slow but fast. Incrementalism. We have been the frog in the pot. And you have to go back and look at those days to really appreciate how drastic the change has been in our country. And it breaks your heart. It really does. It does. It breaks your heart to see the difference. And it does make you wonder, for those who do wonder, how much longer will God let this continue before he corrects it? But we have to also be reminded that if we're looking at it that way, biblically, there has been room for redemption with God, and countries that after a punishment, after being given over to evil rulers, were able to come back as a result of divine intervention. So that's what we have today. Think about these things. Discuss this with your friends. Talk about this with your friends. Get people involved. We need everyone's involvement in these things. And share this video if you would. Like I say, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And we appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow. You all have a good day, a great day. Remember that America needs a reversion and it needs you to be a part of it. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.